And welcome back to the Three Frosted Mugs. Thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate it. All right, so want to talk about the NFC East. Want to talk about our division. The rookies that are coming in, how does that affect the given teams? So who wants to start off with that?
All right, I'll go ahead since we got a little vested interest in the NFC East, and I'll go ahead and I'll start down in Dallas. Kind of watching the draft, I was at least kind of trying to hope we got Johnny Manziel. I had a little bit of glimmer of hope, but it wasn't the sexiest pick. But looking back on it and looking back at what we did last year, I love the pick of Zach Martin. That shows, we have three real solid rookies that are going to be anchoring our offensive line for a long time.
I cried. When they passed on Manziel, I cried. I think a tear. Just not cry, but one little tear. And then we pick up an offensive lineman, which is it's a smart pick. I understand that. But I want something glamorous. I want something big. Bring Manziel to Dallas.
Let me just clarify something real quick before you change the station. Two of the Three Frosted Mugs are diehard Dallas fans. I myself am a homer, and I'm a Redskin fan, so it's a little painful listening to this, but we're going to let their knowledge and love for that team shine through.
We'll touch on the Redskins as well.
Oh, we're going to talk. Oh,
we won't leave them
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll talk about the good and the bad of Washington. But
so we've got flashiness over here, and we've got solid decision-making over here, pretty much, is what I'm hearing.
Digging in the trenches.
Yeah.
Blood, sweat, tears.
Yeah.
But yeah, their offensive line right now is set up to be good for a long time. Obviously, Travis Frederick, he played really well last year. He showed he's tough. He showed he's smart. Tyron Smith, one of the best tackles in the game. And, if everybody's talking about Zach Martin being as good and as smart as he is, and I think there's really good something going down in Dallas as far as on the offensive line. Now, you want to talk about a little glimmer, a little bit of glam, and, the high profile that you want to talk about. They did draft a kid out of Pittsburgh, Devin Street, who did break a couple of Larry Fitzgerald's record, who has a chance to kind of, add to Des Bryant and the other receiver, who's Terrence Williams on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Love Devin Street. Wish we had somebody different to throw to him, but that will happen down the road.
Now, all the Washington fans, we might have just got them back, because there's one thing to say, we're diehard Dallas fans, but can't stand Tony Romo.
Right.
And what does it matter? All of what you just said, what does that matter as far as their offensive line if their quarterback is not up to par?
Oh, no, he'll have good games. He'll have good stats. But in crunch time, it's the same old Tony Romo. He's like, hey, I'm 8-8. I got good stats.
But we can talk about Romo for hours and days, and we're not going to do that.
We're gonna get to Romo in a little bit, but let's keep on track here with the rookies. So I've noticed, I didn't know that Will Smith, movie entertainer, was picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. This is craziness, and in the 7th round too. This is just nuts.
That's a steal. We stole the Fresh Prince,
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
and we're not paying him nearly as much as he got paid to do Men in Black 3 either.
Right.
Well, I've always known him to be a trailblazer, so he's probably just trying to find a new gig.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you my favorite rookie in the NFC East. That's going to be Jordan Matthews. Again, another kid that was on my college fantasy team, so loved him.
Shocker, why you like him?
Broke records at Vanderbilt. Big kid, 6'3". But going into that Chip Kelly offense, how can you not be excited about anybody going into a Chip Kelly offense?
Yeah.
And they're going to run 145 plays a game.
Yeah. Now, and the thing about it, too, is they're going to spread the ball around a little bit, because you've got, Jeremy Macklin's coming back. But how is he going to do? Didn't he just have major surgery, knee surgery last year? So he's coming back out, off surgery. Riley Cooper, how is he going to play? He's a decent ball player. They drafted a receiver from Oregon. They got another rookie over there, Josh Huff.
Yes.
So, we'll see how it is, how he's going to come in and, obviously one of Chip Kelly's boys from Oregon.
And again, they're going to be that situation like you take the Patriots, where receivers are going to come in there. They're going to have a quarterback to deliver the ball. Is Nick Foles still going to live up to what he needs to be? Because Chip Kelly loves the slot position, and he's going to rotate people in the slot position. And if you're a wide receiver going to Philly right now, how excited are you? You're going there with a great running game. You're going there with a decent defense, and you get to play run and gun and throw the ball as much as you want to.
Yeah, you're really not going to miss out on any time there, will you? I mean, there's plenty of ball to go around.
And I think it's the new. You see them switching in the NFL defensive linemen for situations. And they do that on the offensive side of the ball. But Chip Kelly's going to take it to a new level. Chip Kelly's going to be rotating receivers out, not because it's first down and it's a running down and I need 2 tight ends. He's going to put the fresh wide receiver in there because he wants to run as many offensive plays as possible.
Yeah, and at the same time, you almost want to think as to where you want to mind your P's and Q's while you're there because, I mean, they just let go probably their top wide receiver.
Right.
So you can't go in there and just be a knucklehead.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, if you think that they let Deshaun Jackson go all because of off-the-field problems or locker room disease, whatever, no. Chip Kelly wants his guys. He wants his guys. Deshaun Jackson's not one of his guys, especially his wide receivers.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he loves Riley Cooper. They gave him a big contract. They draft 2 wide receivers in the draft, Jordan Matthews and Huff.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to stockpile. Everybody else wants to stockpile quarterbacks and defensive line. He wants as many wide receivers as possible.
Got to have people to catch, right?
And if you're not one of his guys, hey, you're gone. Now, I mean, they got a good tight end down there too. Obviously, I mean Brent Selleck, and then they've got Shady McCoy. Mm-hmm. I mean, probably going to be one of the top 3 fantasy studs this year. So
Yep, I fell into that. I fell into that.
Well, and I hate to say, the 2 teams that, of course, anybody in the NFC East, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're not going to like the Giants. You're not going to like the Redskins. You're not going to like Philly.
No, they're the enemy.
Vice versa for all the other teams. But my second pick, it's not an exciting pick or anything like that, but I love the pick of the Washington Redskins picking up Moses.
That would
From?
Yeah.
From UVA.
Now I wonder why you like him.
That's
Has a little bit to do with it, but still, I mean, good, smart pick. They got to build their offensive line to protect RG3. If you're not going to protect the future with him.
Now, what do you think, though, about taking him with their second pick in the 3rd round as opposed to taking them as their number 1 pick, which was really the 2nd round because they had given it away to the Rams? But
Well, he's coming in. He's going to start immediately over Columbus. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's without question. Columbus, not the greatest of tackles, but he's a good serviceable guy. You're going to be able to get him for fairly cheap, and you're going to be able to have him as a backup. So if he comes in, you're not dropping off as much. And to have a guy like that, who's been in the league a few years, to kind of, hopefully takes that professional route and helps move Moses along.
a little mentoring.
Yeah, so that's a big plus because they do, Trent Williams, they do have a little bit of experience on the line. Maybe not the best line, but they have a decent, serviceable line for, what they're doing. Obviously, they've done enough to where, Alfred Morris has had, some really good numbers. And
yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it because I like the guy. He runs hard, he runs downhill, and he's a good running back.
Well, now, about running backs, they picked up Lake Seastrunk in the 6th round. Where is he going to fit in with everything? Because I was just reading earlier, let me see, Darrell Young was talking about he feels like he'll fit really well into the scheme. So where's Lake going to fit in? If we've got Morris, we've got Roy Halou, I believe, still, right?
You better hope that he fits in making the team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 6th-round draft pick. Anything past the 3rd round, you're not guaranteed. Even the 3rd rounder is not guaranteed a spot.
Yep.
It's a different NFL. I mean, it's the NFL where to win, you need to stay young. You need the mixture of the youngness and the veterans.
Yeah, you expect your 1st and 2nd rounders to come in and start for you. At least give you some good minutes and to be serviceable.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got a hell of a vertical, 41.5 inches. So I cannot jump that high.
But yeah, the offense is without question. The offense will be run through RG3, and what they want to try to do, I'm sure they're going to come in there and pound the ball with Alfred Morris. If not, I think it's stupid.
And now let's talk about the top rookie drafted in the NFC East was Odell Beckham, wide receiver out of LSU.
Yep,
quick kid.
All right, well here's I got a question for you. What's going to happen more? Odell Beckham's receptions or Eli Manning's interceptions?
Wow.
Now, his last year's total was like 26, 27, something like that.
So I guess this is the year that, I guess Eli comes and makes it to the playoffs and makes it to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he's got
isn't that how the Giants work?
Flip-flop each year, right? Like they
mean,
suck and then they're great, and they suck and they're great.
I mean, I think that's how the Giants work a lot.
Yeah, they got the every other year syndrome. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about they brought in. Now I tell you what, we're going to talk about rookies too. You know, they brought in Odell Beckham. They brought in the stud running back from Boston College, Andre Williams.
Right.
The kid can handle the workload. And now, like you were talking about earlier, he's not necessarily going to have to be the main back there because they also brought in Rashad Jennings. So they are kind of going with that two-back system. I think they still have, they got David Wilson, I think, and Peyton Hillis. So, I mean, they've got 4 running backs they can use. I don't see Peyton Hillis doing anything, if even making the team at all.
I was going to say, do you think Peyton Hillis will make the team at all?
He's going back to the soy farm. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Now, he probably can't break 5.6 in the 40.
No, I think I could outrun Peyton Hillis probably. I'm pretty sure I could do that.
And I mean, Andre, he's a big kid. I mean, any running back over 220, that's a big kid to be running.
Now, let me ask you this. I'm just reading a little bit Andre Williams here. So he doesn't have great hands, no receptions in the past season. So do they have a running back that? Because
he didn't catch one ball at Boston College. Is that what you're telling me?
He had no receptions and does not have natural hands.
Okay, well,
but I don't know. But that was last year. Like last year, he had 355 touches for 2,200 yards, but no receptions.
That's 2,200 yards. I don't have any stats in front of me as far as college rankings, but 2,200 yards.
It's pretty massive.
And 300. That's a ton of carries. So his body stood up to it to still get that many yards. But that's pretty.
Have you seen how thick the kid is?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 230 pounds of nothing but thickness.
Yeah. Well, you guys are going to know better than I do, but I mean, is NFL with all the passing, or it's all about passing, right? So even the running backs like Darren Sproles. I mean, he was a huge threat for the Saints. The fact that he could catch a ball out of the backfield like that. So is that something that's just kind of a trend that's happened, or is that something that's been there for a while? I mean, is there a running back on the Giants that can do that, or?
Like I said, with the Giants, with Rashard Jennings and Williams, that's going to be a two-headed monster. Mm-hmm. They like to pound the ball a lot. They're going to run. They're going to bring in 2 tight ends. They're going to bring in big sets. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to work a lot of things off play action. The wide receiver core, Victor Cruz is going to be their main man in the slot. Mm-hmm. Ruben Randall. I'm not sure. Do they still have Manningham and Odell Beckham? So. Now, this team, we'll talk on it a little bit more, but I don't see much happening this year for this team, especially when you look at their schedule, starting off in the NFC East. I don't see many good things out of the Giants this year.
All right, well, sorry, you had something to say?
Well, I was just saying, speaking of that, who do you think's going to be the quarterback of the NFC East this year?
You read my mind. That's exactly where I was going, yeah.
I mean, we'll always like to talk about the flashy positions.
All right, so let's rank them. Let's talk about who we've got, first of all, as our quarterbacks.
You want to start from the bottom to the top?
Yeah, let's start 5 and down, right? So who's
4 and down.
4 and down, sorry. 4 and down.
Come on, Steven.
I'm terrible with math.
First off, can you name, off the top of your head real quick, the 4 teams in the NFC East?
4 teams, yeah. Dallas, the Eagles, the Redskins. Why is the 4th one escaping me right now?
We just talked about
the Giants.
There you go.
Jeez Louise, man.
Attaboy.
I got a lot on my plate, man. I can't eat it all at once.
I'll run through my list. Well, actually, I'll go 4. You can give me your 4. Bottom spot, we're just talking about him, Eli Manning.
2-time Super Bowl winning Eli Manning is the worst quarterback in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Without question.
My number 4 is Tony Romo.
Oh, my gosh.
Tony Romo, how many playoff victories does he have?
Very, very little.
Yeah, like a couple.
1.
He's got 1.
I think 1.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I can't keep track.
Give him 1.
I mean, at least 1. If you cannot win, you cannot be a quarterback in the NFL.
So you think he's going to be a worse quarterback than Eli Manning this year?
If we're talking about fantasy stats.
No, not fantasy.
No, we're talking about.
I'm talking about true football. Yes. Yes. Because here's the difference.
You're crazy.
Here's the difference. These things right here.
Wedding
Eli
rings?
Manning's rings. Eli Manning's got 2 of them.
Oh,
that
gotcha.
doesn't have anything to do with next year.
So you're every year.
No.
Oh, he's just going off of accolades. That's all he's going off of.
That has nothing
We're talking
to do with
about
next
this
year.
year's performance.
Now, Tony Romo, as much as we hate him, he's going to have stats.
Eli Manning
He's going to have those good games. But when it comes crunch time, he's going to get puckered up.
Right. Who cares?
He's not going to. I agree.
I don't need to play NBA Jam with him. I need him to win a playoff game.
Boom shakalaka.
It's got to be the shoes.
I don't need him just to be flashy and one game throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. I want him to have a game where he doesn't throw any interceptions, especially in the 4th quarter, especially in the red zone.
You don't want to hear about the labor pains. Just show you the baby.
Yeah, let's get off the Tony Romo train.
Tony Romo
All right, so
can't buy a
Romo is 4.
I got Eli 4. Now, number 3, Sorry, Washington fans, but I'm gonna have Robert Griffin III.
Oh
as
my
third
God, are you
best
serious?
I'm dead serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Brace off everything. He's coming into a new system. How much, and you don't know how much he's going to buy into it, how much he's going to like this system. You've already seen how he acted towards Mike Shanahan. Speaking of rings, shouldn't Shanahan got a little respect for having 2 rings?
Well, then what is 2012? What was his first year? Was that nothing? Did that mean like
They
that
didn't
was
ha-
a new
they didn't
system,
have-
right?
They didn't have any tape on them.
Yeah, that's 1
Once
year.
you
man.
got some tape
you,
on
you
him.
don't have tape on a person running.
Hey, now, I'm talking about running the plays and throughout the season. Now, to back up what Chad is saying a little bit is, yeah, he is coming into a new system. He just came off of learning the system, Kyle Shanahan's system, which to me hurt him a lot. They put him in situations where he shouldn't have been in. But I watched this kid play for 4 years at Baylor. Love to watch him play. He's exciting. Can he be a pocket passer? What Jay Gruden wants. That's what Gruden wants. I mean, he wants that pocket passer. Can he be that? I think this is going to be a big trying year for him. It's not so much make or break, because I think every year we say that with a bunch of different players, and they're still starting, they're still in the league. I mean, he still has to mature, but learning the system. If he can come in there and get a grasp on the system, and they're not scared to run the ball, he'll have a better system. I mean, how many times watching a Redskins game last year, you have 2 wide receivers going out for passes? I mean, what is this, a high school team running a wing T?
And that's why I put him at number 3, because he's coming into a new system, and he's still going to be having to learn to be a pocket passer.
He's also my number 3.
Without question, he's got it on.
Well, I'm glad you both can agree on that at least. So,
Yeah, I hate that too.
okay, so what's your number 2?
Number 2, I've got Tony Romo.
Okay.
I mean, again, Tony Romo, he's going to be a stats guy. I can't stand him because I know he's never going to win me a championship. So I feel like every year we're going to go 8-8. I think it's going to come down to the last 2 or 3 ball games of the year. And I think, now I'll give him credit last year. They came in when he hurt his back. They won that game at Washington. That would have been the year. I believe Kyle Orton had to come in. They played Philly the last game of the year. Mm-hmm. If they could have came in and Romo could have won that game, that would have solidified a little bit more to me. But as it stands right now, he'll never win the big game. Now, he may win another playoff game or 2, but he's always going to have gaudy stats. But he will not win that big game when you need it.
I'm going with Eli as my number 2.
Okay.
I mean, it's
the same Eli who had 18 touchdowns and 27 interceptions last year.
He's not a fantasy stud. They had a down year. I mean, Coughlin's your coach. Coughlin's going to win. Who doesn't want to play for Coughlin? He looks like he's going to kill you if you don't play for him.
That is true.
I mean, he's going to come back. He's going to have a decent year. And I think if they get the running game solidified, I mean, that to me is a big deal. I mean, it's in the NFL, if you can run the ball and play defense, you're going to win football games. Everybody loves putting up 500 yards receiving and whatnot, but when the hammer hits the nail, the better defense is going to beat the better offense.
And that's all Seattle did last year.
Right.
Well, and that running game will help alleviate some of the passing threat, right? I mean, it kind of opens things up for Eli more.
Correct.
Or lack thereof with, a rookie and Andre Williams and Rashad Jennings who, yeah, he did good, but he's not going to carry the bulk of the load.
So are we both coming down as our number 1 quarterback is Nick Foles?
God,
I
how
knew
did
this is where this was going.
We took different paths, but we ended up at the same place.
Do we have to rank anyone number 1? Can he be like, can we have a 2A and 2B?
We should go, 5, 4, 3, and 2.
There you go.
Tom Landry can be number 1.
Tom Landry's number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Nick Foles going to be the number 1 quarterback in the league. I mean, last year, again, we could get back to, to the point where there wasn't much tape on him, kind of like we were talking about RG3. But it's a different situation. He's a pocket passer. You don't need much. There's not but so much tape you can watch on different style pocket passers. I mean, the kid came in and only had 2 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
He had 27 touchdowns and 2 pickles. That's it. That's remarkable.
And they were throwing it a lot.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to watch Chip Kelly's offense again. But all these defensive coordinators around the league now has a year-long tape on them. And I'm a big guy on tape. If they're looking at the tape, it's going to slow them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Every gimmick is found out by the defense
Chip Kelly,
sooner or later.
He has a book that thick from shit that he has not pulled out since 1983.
And not only that, he has some cool signs, on the sideline to call plays.
Oh, yeah.
How cool is that?
But now look, also talk about a good situation. We're talking about Bridgewater coming into having Adrian Peterson. He's got a pretty good running back over there in Philly.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to have Shady McCoy on their team? Who
Yeah.
can run? You need a 2 running back system? Well, he can give you either one.
Well, look
He
who they
can run
brought
with
in for
power.
their
He
second
can
running
catch the
back.
ball. He can run around people. He can make people miss.
Look who they brought in. Darren Sproles. Mm-hmm. So you got 2 guys that can just run and shift and just out of this world. In a Chip Kelly type offense?
So are we saying Philadelphia's going to win the East?
Now, yeah, see, that's the thing. Does that translate? Does that translate to that?
Well, let me show you that. This is kind of something that stuck out to me. I was kind of sitting there. We were talking about the Giants, and I was looking at their schedule. Let me read off real briefly the first 9 or 10 games that the Giants start off with. All right, they go at Detroit.
Loss.
Detroit has even more weapons this year. All right, they play Arizona. Arizona's a good ball club.
Mm-hmm.
They play Houston. They play at Washington. They play Atlanta, Philly, Dallas. Then listen, Indy, Seattle, and San Fran. They might go 1-9 their first
That
10
is
games.
Really tough schedule.
All
They
right.
might go 1-9.
I'm putting them 4th in
My
this.
gosh.
Do you still like Eli as
I
the
just
number
fell
2
off the Eli
quarterback?
Manning train. I really did. I need to look at their schedules before I said anything.
Is that brutal or what to start
is
off
very
your first
brutal.
10 games like that?
So we're saying that the Giants are going to be the bottom of the NFC East then?
I've got Giants going 5-11, 4-12,
Okay.
somewhere in that neighborhood.
All right, let's do it the same way like we did with ranking the quarterbacks. Who's next up? Who's
All right, I've got Giants dead last in the NFC.
Yeah. After you gave me that tidbit of information, I agree with you, Mr. Sale.
Sorry, Grandpa Tom.
Sorry, Tom Coughlin. I'm turning my back on you right now.
Yes.
No matter if your guys want to play for
feel
you,
like
that's a brutal schedule.
He's
Yeah.
like that grandfather you didn't want to go visit because you're just doing chores, and he's going to probably hit you at some point during the visit.
Yeah. Even Lawrence Taylor couldn't help with that schedule.
Okay, all right. So tell me your number 3.
All right, so the number 3 team in the NFC East
Oh
again.
my
Sorry, Washington
gosh.
fans.
Really?
I've got Washington going 8-8. Where'd they go last year? 3-13.
Yeah, that's a huge improvement.
I think it's an improvement. I think it's really good because you've got a whole new regime coming in. So although you had won the NFC East, you took a drop, a step back, going 8-8. I think it would be it'd be a successful season if they went 8-8, in the NFC East. Yeah.
And that would be enough to get them into the. No.
I don't know. Definitely wouldn't be,
No.
not to get in the playoffs or anything like that. Who do you see as your number 3 in the East?
I think it's going to be a toss-up between Washington and Dallas. Who can get a couple games over 500? I think they're both going to be 500 teams. Who's going to win the games that they didn't supposed to win? Mm-hmm. Who's going to not lose the games that they're supposed to win?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. Every year being a Dallas fan, your heart's going to be broken in Week 17. That's just how it works.
You've had an interim coach for the last 2 seasons and been going on 3 seasons.
Again, not a big fan of Tony Romo, and maybe an even worse fan of Jason Garrett.
Now, is that going to make a difference? You think is that going to be the key? Maybe the coaching is that going to make a difference?
Well, the Redskins have nothing. But optimism. You're getting John Gruden's brother. You have a Gruden coming to D.C. How are you not excited?
Yeah.
You have RG3 that's supposed to be 100% healthy. You have Deshaun Jackson.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, Alfred Morris.
Yeah, it's
On
but-
paper, it looks great.
Look what
Right.
he did with the kid, the running back down there in Cincinnati.
Is
Yeah,
that
Bernard.
Giovanni?
Yeah.
Is that right? Giovanni Bernard?
And I like him. He was on my fantasy team.
And so I guess coming in at number 2, you got the Cowboys coming in at number 2.
I got Dallas sitting there, right around 8-8, 9-7. The same, why would we go any different?
Right.
I think it's going to be the same old song and dance. Our defense is as optimistic as I want to be. We're still not where we need. Our linebackers are terrible.
We don't have Sean Lee.
Yeah, and he was our only good linebacker. The rest were
He's
terrible.
made out of matchsticks. He cannot stay healthy. He cannot stay healthy.
Whose legs are worse, his or Miles Austin's?
Well, I'm going to go with Sean Lee's. Because Miles Austin's had the same hamstring pull since 1997. That whole hamstring, if there's hamstring replacement surgery, he's the one that needs it. He's the prime candidate.
He was
Maybe
hurt
he can
before
take
Mama.
your hamstring. Maybe you can
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't use it.
Why do you need it?
You're from good stock.
And then I can just ask people to do things for me.
So we're all thinking Philadelphia's going to win the East.
So I mean, we've got Nick Foles being the best quarterback in the East, and now we have Philly being
guys,
the
you
best
know what?
team. And I've got them going 10-6, 11-5.
I mean, I won't even drive to Philadelphia.
I was gonna say,
that's how much I dislike.
if
Philly
I'm
is
going to
not
Atlantic
far from
City,
here.
I'm staying away. I'm not
Yeah.
going that route.
I'm going through Dover, I might take a boat around all of Philadelphia if I
just
can.
to stay away.
Okay. All right. Well, that was good conversation on the NFC East there. Let's move into some more hometown sports if we could. We still got the Nationals to discuss. Or do we want to take a break and move on to our next segment with that?
Hey, we'll take a break and we'll get into a little bit of hometown, a little bit of nationals.
I mean, we
a little
went
bit of
in
Wizards
depth
talk.
on some of the NFL rookie and NFC East.
When you start talking a little bit of NFC East, your blood gets pumping.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you realize
Yeah.
how close you are to football season. So
I'm getting hot in here. I got to take a step out and cool down. So we'll be back from a break, and then we'll move on. More conversation about the Nationals and the Wizards.
Go Wiz.